Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, Back to the Future, The Thing, Goonies, Blade Runner, Big Trouble in Little China, all these timeless posters were designed by one man, Drew Struzan.
Drew Struzan do your posters, almost worth making movies just for that.
For close to 4 decades, Struzan's illustrations and artwork represented the movie-going experience. His posters served as a beckoning call to arms for movie fans across the globe. And yet today, movie posters aren't created to tell a story or create an indelible image that represents the film. They're just walls of floating heads, which begs the question, why has this once vital piece of the filmmaking industry vanished? The artistic unit of the movie poster is an integral piece of the filmmaking industry. It serves as a cheap and effective way of informing the public about a movie's existence. When it's produced well, it can propel a film to success. When it's boring, well, it doesn't do anyone any favors. The first movie poster was created in 1895 for the French short film La Rose Arrosée by iconic director Louis Lumière. As you can see, the poster served 2 purposes: to inform people what it was like to see a film, and of course, to advertise the film. This dual nature of movie posters is something that they've been attempting to balance ever since. Even today, the push and pull between artistic pursuit and commercial success is in constant tension. In this case, though, Lumiere's poster functioned as much as an advertisement for the idea of going to the movies as much as it is for the film itself. As more complex printing processes were developed, the medium of movie posters blossomed. Divergent styles were implemented in order to attempt to catch the eye of the movie-going public. Simple posters, complex paintings, narrative posters, and ones that primarily featured typography were all employed. And as you'd expect, these posters reflected the eras they were made in. Throughout the 20s and 30s, the role that movie posters served in communicating to the public shifted and evolved. Actors' names and roles began to be more prominently featured in the marketing of the film. Additionally, as the printing processes matured, movie posters were able to move away from simplified designs and into more painted and complex visual tapestries. In the 40s, patriotism was on display. In the 50s, people were looking for escapism, so fantasy and science fiction were the taste du jour. This is often thought of as the golden age of movie poster design, as arguably the greatest to ever do it began gaining cultural ubiquity: Bob Peak. He created the posters for James Bond, Apocalypse Now, The Godfather, My Fair Lady, The Dark Crystal, and literally scores of others. His works were omnipresent throughout nearly 3 decades. Running counter to Peak's brilliant narrative instincts and god-tier draftsmanship was Saul Bass, a poster and credits designer. You probably know him from his work in films like Vertigo and The Shining. His highly graphic, reductionist approach to shape, language, color, and typography changed the way film posters, intro credits, and the medium of graphic design approached idea implementation. Drew Struzan was the man who took the mantle from Bass and Peak as the next and maybe final mainstreamed named poster artist. Inarguably, since the 1980s, Struzan worked as the most important movie poster artist in the industry, and maybe ever.
When Drew came along and started to do the work, it really made a big difference.
His photo reference style, keen eye for composition, and instantly recognizable voice have served as the definitive capstone on the art of movie poster making. The way Struzan uses color, airbrushed acrylic, and colored pencils to simulate a stylized and warped reality is truly a magical feat. There's a mesmerizing quality to seeing an entire 2-hour story encapsulated into one single image. Struzan's work does this effortlessly. He pushed the medium of poster art to heights it had never before seen. His work struck a chord with the public.
Feeling of texture that he brings into his art, the feeling that you can almost reach out and touch it, and just the fact that it's so tactile, his art. And that's because he paints, he doesn't keyboard.
The process by which Struzan created his work is not that dissimilar from how posters are created today. He was supplied with photos from the studio, he would use them to create a rough composition, they would approve it, and then he would create a highly detailed traced drawing from the photos, which he would then airbrush, paint, and crosshatch on top of. However, this process can take weeks and even months to fully complete, and as such, the legacy that Struzan worked so hard to build is not being carried on in the mainstream film industry today. Struzan is retired, his last work being a Star Wars The Force Awakens advanced poster that wasn't even put out for wide release. In the current cinematic landscape, movie posters are dull. Lifeless sales tools cranked out by design firms and plastered all over the internet. The speed and efficiency of production is what's most important, not the end product. To add insult to injury, there isn't just one movie poster for a film. There's as many as 9 or 10. Often, most wide releases will have a main theatrical poster with all the characters on it, usually depicted in what's called head salad. This is regularly just a photoshopped mountain of faces of the actors appearing in the film. Floating heads in the sky over a small scene from the movie, floating heads in sepia tone, floating heads in space. Lots of floating heads in space. It's a trend that's just everywhere. Then there will usually be 5 to 10 breakout character spotlight posters. It's commercial. It's boring! This trend of character spotlight posters also ruins any chance of having an iconic singular image to represent your film. When you hear Indiana Jones, The Thing, or Goonies, you instantly have an image in mind. When you hear Spider-Man Far From Home, it's either head salad or just random photos of the actors standing there vaguely looking like they need a restroom. Additionally, in generations past, movie posters would attempt to tell a story that was germane to the film, give you a bite-sized chunk of narrative to make you intrigued and want to see the film. Look at Roger Castle's poster for Jaws. Massive shark, woman swimming, you instantly get what the movie is about. It doesn't have Roy Scheider or Richard Dreyfuss's face plastered all over the poster. It's focused on the idea that a shark is gonna get you.
Smile, you son of a...
Today, there are very specific visual tropes that these design firms go back to over and over again. Is it a romantic comedy? It's probably a man and a woman back to back with the man smirking. Is it an action-adventure thriller? Then the color palette is probably orange and blue, complementary colors, and we're gonna see someone running or looking pensive. Is it a thriller or a superhero movie? Get ready to see a billion posters of someone with their back to camera looking back at us. These tropes are so pervasive because it's not an individual making them. It's a design firm who's just trying to please a studio client. Even when they are executed well, they feel soulless, and it's not going away anytime soon. The thing illustrators like Struzan and Peak brought to the table is that even when they were working off photo reference, they're bringing their perspective as an artist. They're tweaking things, they're adding small highlights, details, and stylizations.
Very uber-realistic style, but as a result, it's rather stunning to look at.
Look, have movie posters basically been showing people's faces to you in the hopes that you'll pay to see them move since the beginning of the film industry? Yes, but the version of it that exists today is just so much worse. And that's all we have for this episode. What do you think? Is there a movie poster that's been put out over the last decade or so that you think rivals Drew Struzan's output? Let us know down in the comments below, and as always, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.